Welcome to another episode of Stories That Connect, the influence of brand storytelling. I am your host, Nicole Levell, owner of Elocin Marketing, where we specialize in branding, digital strategy, and community building, particularly empowering female entrepreneurs to tell their stories and to grow their business online. And today we have a special guest. We are going to be diving deep into understanding the power of humanizing your brand online. And our special guest is Amanda, aka Amandork Foster. She is an online interior design consultant, business mentor, and dope graphic designer. Together, we are going to be talking about humanizing your brand and connecting with your audience on a deeper level. I am so excited to have you. Hi. Hello.
Yes. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm ready to dive in.
Yes, guys, I have to tell you, Amanda is amazing. We have been emailing each other back and forth. It's been like a lot of communication, and she is literally dope, which is why she uses that as a part of her brand. Let's go ahead and dive in. Let's tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Okay, so I wasn't always this bold and colorful and out there with my brand and business. Side of me, yes, I've always been that teenager at heart, loving color, loving things to be more creative and thinking outside of the box. But I think most business owners, and it doesn't matter what industry, we're afraid to put that out there. We're afraid to show our personality because we think people won't like it, or maybe it'll drive customers away. And with that thinking, my website was pretty boring. I had that very real estate, wearing the blazer, arms crossed, neutral colors. All of my portfolio was pretty bland and safe. I think the word is safe because then okay, this feels professional. And this is how an interior designer is supposed to look, or our website is supposed to read. Talking in the third person, trying to pretend that maybe I have a team under me. Once I ditched the vanilla and just really honed in on color and my personality and getting vibrant headshots done, where, okay, I'm not going to wear a weird pantsuit. I'm going to wear a colorful blazer, a graphic t-shirt. I have a colorful sequins mini skirt with boots, like
I love it.
heels, like high heels. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to be more of myself and make that a part of my brand. So again, the humanizing part and just letting go of that fear. You know what? I'm not everybody's cup of tea. My website's going to now sound like me. I'm going to ditch the third person. I'm going to talk from the heart and I'm going to talk in my brand voice. So you need to establish a conversational tone. And mine, unfortunately, has a lot of teenager lingo, but I think it's fun. And a lot of my clients are like, wow, I feel like you're actually talking when I'm reading, your content, whether it's a social media post or your website. So there's one way to connect with people that now it doesn't sound like it was written by AI or it was written in third person. My shots are really colorful and fun and playful, but there's that balance of professional. So yes, I still have a blazer. It's just not black or tan. It's bright lime green, with
Yes.
with
I
a fun
love it.
shirt. So I think by putting myself and sharing my story, talking about how I traveled and how I got my degree, but I ditched the cubicle 9 to 5 and I did something completely rebellious. I think a lot of my peers that I did graduate with were calling me that rebel. Wow, you're going to ditch your cushy job, the 9 to 5. What happened to your website? Wait, what are these new headshots? You have to move in the direction that's right for you, even if it's away from what was safe. I promise you, I should be a case study that it will work out. Now I'm working with people who want some color, who want to share their story just like I am. Maybe it's not the same story, but it's one that can resonate with their target audience and their clients. This is the beauty of branding is you can paint a picture and it doesn't have to be vanilla. You can ditch it and actually have something more flavorful, right? and something that's unique.
Oh my goodness. Drop the mic. Podcast and founder. That's the brand right there. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it.
Be yourself. Don't be
Let's
scared.
no yeah, or as they say, do it scared, right? With it, and I love it. And I love that. Even both our brands have synergy because we both have bright, bold colors. It's part of our brand. Yes. And that's people. So let's go ahead and get into this topic right now.
Well, I have a lot of experience in my design industry for graphic design, where I partnered with a marketing firm. So I learned a lot about marketing and storytelling and branding and also interiors. I always had the two working side by side. But once I got into my own business, I could actually use my interior design and architecture degree and knowledge with my graphic design and marketing know-how. So that's where I've niched down to help my peers succeed in getting better businesses online.
I love how you really honed in on what you love, but I want to really focus on like really helping our listeners understand exactly like even what you're doing right now. I feel like with your business, you are the poster child for humanizing your brand, right? So let's dive into what that really means to humanize your brand as a term. So I know a lot of people they're hearing us say this and they're like, what are they talking about again? What does it really mean to be human? So let's just jump into that term. Like, how would you explain what humanizing your brand is to a person or maybe one of your clients? Like being more human is more than just like the way you talk or not using AIs. What does it mean to
Right.
really humanize your brand?
So humanizing a brand means making it more relatable and more personable. It's about showing more of your human side of the business. So your audience feels like there's a genuine connection and you're not just some AI thing, right? AI is getting very popular. And I think the more popularity AI becomes, then it's more about, okay, is this authentic? Is this real? Is this somebody just hiding behind a logo? Especially when people, and I know we spoke about this last time, are talking in the third person, right? And you really have no sense of, is there even a human part of this brand or this business? So how can we create kind of a story to make this feel more real, more personable, more unique, more authentic? Especially as we get closer into, wow, did AI write this? Wow, is this even, is there a real person behind the customer service? So I think it's going to be even more important to become more authentic, to show more of this raw, real side of yourself, and more than ever, I think.
Wow, yeah. I just like humanizing your brand. I feel like it's like really taking that step to make
Mm,
someone, you hit it on the head, like relatable. Make someone want to reach out and shake your hand, want to reach out and touch you. So when you're showing up
mm,
online, people feel like they know you. And so that's when they have that, oh, you got to know and trust, right? That's where that
right.
comes from. It's about what you're saying, how you're saying, the things that you put on your website, all of these different things. Make sure that you're humanizing your brand in the right way. And I know
Mhm,
that, like you said, we've talked. There was something that you said to me. We were like emailing back and forth about humanizing the brand, and you literally used the term that you have to inject yourself into the brand. And
mhm.
I love how you said that you were talking about like your business and how you have humanized your brand, really injecting yourself, really being bold. How do you normally refer to yourself and when it comes to like your brand? And when you're talking about your brand, how do you make your brand more human for people, or make that like connecting point? Like you say, you're different from the rest of your industry. What is something that you might normally say?
It's just, I talk to my clients a lot about this. So without having the face-to-face interactions that a lot of interior designers or what business owners have, where they meet face to face, there is a personal human interaction, right? So it's believable. Like you're building trust. When you are an online service provider, like probably a lot of the businesses listening in right now, it doesn't matter if you're an interior designer, graphic designer, have a little shop or whatever. If you are promoting your business online, let's say you're doing something on your website or in social media, Like, we don't want to just know the services and the business hours. We want to know a little bit about the face of the brand, right? And that's what I think the bigger kind of fish out there are doing well when they're like, okay, meet the owner or meet the team. And so those are really easy things to do. This one business that I helped a long time ago, they were so shy. They were so camera shy. And so one thing that I told them is, okay, why you guys all have pets? Your office is pet friendly. This could be a really interesting angle to mm, show your pets as part of the team. So meet the team. They did a little photo shoot and it was all their pets. And it was really cute. And it actually got a ton of engagement online, the highest grossing blog that they had, the analytics on their story and the reel went viral. Pets in general are a great way to to
Isn't it?
humanize it, even though they're not humans per se. But this is a great way to show, again, not this cold, we're talking in third person, we're hiding the people that work there. But this was a great step for them to just show a softer side, a personal side. And then the last picture that they shared was each of the girls with the pet, holding the pet, which
Oh,
was
that's
fun.
so
So that was like, that was our icebreaker. We're so glad that we did it. Now we're going to start doing it without the pets or with the pets. And so now they're showing up more on camera, which is really exciting. But that's an easy way for my shy clients, because this has happened with another designer that I worked with. She started sharing her with her cat, getting her coffee in the morning. I was just like, you don't have to be camera shy. Do the POV, show your phone, show your cat, show you doing your thing. But if you're afraid to be on camera, just it's outward, not selfie facing. So she's been doing that for a while. Now she's doing the selfie facing. So there's
yeah.
baby steps, but a lot of times people think no one's going to want to see me doing my day-to-day routine. And it's, you might not find it interesting, but this is a way for you to build trust with your clients. So there's the whole client trust factor as online service providers that we really need to embrace, because we're strangers. They don't know us. And so why should they trust you right off the bat? So you have to do these little baby steps of humanizing your business, humanizing your brand, and storytelling, right? Even if it is through just a quick story. I'm getting coffee, I'm running errands, I'm on my way to meet a client in the showroom. Those little moments are actually the way that a client builds trust and is, oh my gosh, like I like her and she's real. And it's all subconscious,
Yeah.
but it's building that kind of trust.
Yeah. And I feel like everything that you just said, I feel like can be summarized in clearly like making a connection. Like
Mhm.
you have to make a connection in some kind of way. And you have to do it in a natural way, in a way just like how you would if you were out meeting people,
Mhm.
if you're like at a party or whatever it is. Like if you're at a
Mhm.
party, and yes, some people can be a wallflower, and I get that. But normally, let's say if you are going to a networking event, you're going to a party, your whole goal is to meet people, right? So you have to put yourself out there, like, period. You got
Yes.
to walk up, you got to say hi, and you're not going to show up like a statue. You're not going to show up different. You're not going to show up like an AI robot. You're going to just be yourself. So I feel like even
Yeah.
what you just said is a very good point. These little moments, don't feel like you
Mhm.
have to show every moment of your day. Your video needs to be on every second. No, nobody is asking for that. But they're
Mhm.
asking for those moments where they can see themselves in you. Oh my goodness, she
Yes.
likes the same Starbucks thing that I like. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness, she's a cat lover just like me, or a dog lover. Yes, dogs.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we have these things in common.
Mhm.
So like that connectivity, we definitely, I think that's the focus when you're talking about humanizing your brand. How can I make a connection with my audience? What can I show them that is going to help them realize that I am just like them? And I
Yes.
would have to say for me, like that part has been a struggle. I mentioned my background is journalism, and I have been overly, like when I do my videos, sometimes just thinking about being too perfect. I
Mhm.
overthink. I'm like, oh, what do I look like? Do I need to wear a filter? Do I not need to wear a filter?
Mm.
And I'm sure you probably talk to your clients like, hey, it doesn't have to be this serious, right? But I have been so like edited and cut down that I have
Mhm.
my friends and some endearing people that say, oh my goodness, yeah, Nicole, you're great. You look just like a newscaster and everything. And I'm like, See, that wasn't the goal. That was not the goal at all. I don't want to look like I'm on TV speaking
Right.
about the news when I'm actually talking about connecting as a brand. So
Mm-hmm.
I've had to work on being more relaxed, not trying to say, hey, let me think about doing a video just sitting on my couch, holding my cup of coffee or all those different things. But it is hard to get out of that mindset if you have that
Mm-hmm.
perfectionism mindset versus, or on the opposite end, the too shy mindset where you
Mm-hmm.
cannot get out of your own head just to show a little bit. So I think like that it was actually like a tip. So thank you. Oh yes. The tip about not always, like, when you want to humanize your brain, you want to start doing that storytelling. It does
Mm-hmm.
not always have to come from the perspective of face to camera, like you're facing it. Somebody, it was a coach, I was on one of her coaching calls. She gave a really good example, which is what you said, turning that camera around. Show people your
Mm-hmm.
life from your point of view, right? People love to see that side. And it's another form of BTS, like that behind the scenes. But you're just showing them, this
Mm-hmm.
is my day. This is what I'm seeing. This is me going through Target. This is all these different things. And they're getting to see it through your lens. And you can do voiceovers, you can add words, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, you're still humanizing your brand
Mm-hmm.
by sharing
Mm-hmm.
these authentic stories and all these different things. And it was something else you said, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh my God.
because when people see the real you, your values, your story, your personality, they start to trust you. And it doesn't have to be only the things that they have in common with you.
I love that.
Because believe me, there's a lot I don't have in common with my clients, but they feel like they know me. They read my website and they hear that brand voice, right? I'm not talking in third person. I'm not trying to pretend that I have this company and I have all these people working under me. They're like, you're just being, and I have very teenage lingo that that I use. I say dope and rad and cool. I'm like 37 going on 16. My clients don't necessarily want that for their website. My clients are they're not super conservative, but they're more conservative in terms of like how I am. But it's about, I built trust with them. They know who I am. They have that feel for the photos, the fun vibes that I give out, the behind the scenes that I'm posting. And they're just like, wow, I feel like I know you. I think you're cool. I don't want all of that, but I do trust you to be the person to get out this juicy thing that I'm too scared, right? To put out there. I don't know. Am I saying it the right way? Am I doing this story the right way? Am I putting myself into my brand the right way? So it's a little confusing. There's definitely a balance you have to do between
Yes.
showing your personal side and being professional. And my clients are all professional, and maybe I'm too personal. There's a happy medium, and just don't talk about your offers constantly. Mix
Oh,
it up. Show your day to day, like you were saying, show something fun, something you're working on. But also, yeah, now we're going to talk about my offers. Now maybe I'm going to put on my blazer, but maybe in some of that, I'm not in that perfection mode,
yeah.
which really can, for any business owner, get in the way of productivity.
Say it again. All right, we got the look. We're dropping the gym. Yes, perfectionism gets in the way of productivity. We're just putting it out there. If you got nothing else from us today, because we have to stop, because it is a block. What I wanted to chime in earlier. You were talking when we were talking more about making that connection as well and how you're showing up, and it made me think about a big part of humanizing your brand is showing that you're different, right? In some kind of way. And I think that being different is also like maybe how you might be showing up from a customer service standpoint, and or how you're talking to people. And so it made me think about food service, right? Okay, brain, where's it going? But I live in the South and we're huge with Chick-fil-A, right? And I
Mhm.
really thought Chick-fil-A has done an amazing job at making human connection and humanizing their brand. And they are a fast food chain, right? They're
Mhm.
competing all up and down. First of all, yes, we're fast food, but we're not selling burgers, we're selling chicken. And we're going to just use the simplest tagline, eat more chicken. But when you really think about what separates them and makes them more human, it's that Chick-fil-A's overall brand and their overall, I feel like their marketing strategy is really centered around customer service. It's not centered around
Mhm.
their offers. It's not centered around what they're selling. It's centered around My pleasure. And that's literally what people remember from Chick-fil-A. They remember the experience, they remember the people. I literally have heard people when they're at other places and they're having a great experience with somebody, they say, "Hey, did you used to work at Chick-fil-A?" Because they it was such a good experience. You had to have been trained at Chick-fil-A. I literally have heard people say that. And yeah, when you're in Atlanta, okay. But it's like one of those things. If you have really good customer service, people associate that with a brand like Chick-fil-A, which really they sell chicken and fries. Come on, at the end of the day, they sell chicken and fries and maybe a few salads, but we remember the experience. So I think Chick-fil-A, they really honed in on how are we going to make connections with people, how we're going to help people really want to buy us over other people, and be okay with the fact that, yes, we're closed on Sunday. Okay. You close coming up to Monday through Saturday. And they're a powerhouse. People will drive by a whole bunch of other places, even places where they can get chicken sandwiches, because they're convinced mentally that Chick-fil-A is just better. And they might not even be.
Wow.
But they have built that quality, they have built that customer service. And some people would rather pay for quality and customer service and a great experience, even pay more money, than to say, "Hey, let me go the cheap route, but you might get my order wrong. You're going to get an attitude if I ask you to change it." That's the thing about what type of brand do you really want to be, and how do you want to connect, and how do you want to be different from everybody else? So I would say that was something I wanted to throw to you. How do you think like being different really makes an impact on humanizing your brand?
I always share my journey that I'm a rebel in the interior design industry. That's just my jam because, like I said before, I went through all the hoops, the right hoops, got my degree, went into the architecture kind of venture and hated it. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to be a rebel and I'm going to quit. I'm going to leave this cubicle, cushy job that has me set with 401k and healthcare and this, that, and whatever, and do something completely different. And that's when e-design was very new and we didn't know if it was going to take. It was just a risk that I was willing to do at the time, but I learned so much in the 5 years that I was partnered with these e-design companies for a huge pay cut, but it was definitely worth it because I was able to be more creative and live in all these different time zones. Literally, we traveled across different, I think it was 23 countries that we had gone to. And in that time, I was working maybe for 2 weeks in Canada and then working another 2 weeks in Paris and then another 3 weeks in Brazil. So
Wow, that's awesome.
I was hopping around and just in love with, wow, I own my own business. I'm doing something very different. I'm the rebel in this industry. I'm honing in on like my personality and putting that a part of my brand. I'm not going to be scared anymore and hide behind my logo. And so I think by being honest about the journey that I've had and the voice, the brand voice that I also have, because I wasn't showing up in video very often, like in my first 2, 3 years almost, like I didn't have a lot of video. So I had to really rely on, okay, all of my brand messaging. I need to have that voice. I need to have my funny little sayings here and there, and I need to have really good, colorful, personality filled photos. So that's a great way if you're camera shy or video shy to still get photos done, still have your messaging, have sound like you versus, like I said, the third person. I'm going to pretend I'm this big company. I'm like, I'm not. And a lot of people are like, wow, that's so brave. You're not even like trying to fake it. Like, it's just me. I'm a one-stop shop. I'm woman owned. It's just me. There's nobody else. And I think, like you said, with Chick-fil-A, I do really strive for quality. So all of my clients, even though I have a handful of clients at a time, instead of pretending I have a zillion back to back, no, I want to make this experience quality driven. I really talk with them one-on-one. I send them voice notes. And that's why I go off of referrals. People are like, oh my God, we love you. This is amazing. You helped us and held our hand and gave us voice notes. And like, you're just amazing, which I am very thankful, but I'm not trying to do, okay, fast and quick. Like you were saying with other fast food places, they're about like, okay, we're cheap and we have terrible customer service, but we don't give a damn. And it's maybe for you guys, but I definitely relate more to the Chick-fil-A of we're quality driven. We're going to be upfront about our messaging and just put people first. So I love that you brought them up because, yeah, it's quality, not quantity.
I love that. I love that. And it was, I'm sorry, so anyway, yes, I love everything that you're saying. This is like a wonderful conversation. We've talked a lot just about like customer engagement, and I want to like in a little bit talk about like how to keep a client, but I really like where you're going with everything. And I want to talk a little bit. One, you said something about voice notes, and I just want to say I think that's awesome. I think that's really awesome that because maybe you're camera shy, right?
Mhm.
Hearing a voice, period, whether it's a voiceover or voice notes, this is another way for your brand to stand out and
Mhm.
be different from everybody else. Everybody's not going to offer you voice notes. That's like another level of connection. And you can drop voice notes into Instagram Messenger, into text message, into WhatsApp.
Mhm.
And I actually know a coach who literally built an entire platform on one-to-one coaching with voice notes. And I'm like, are you serious? And was charging like a real, this is, hey, you want to get me? You're going to pay thousands of dollars and I'm going to coach you for the next like year. And she used voice notes, but it was pretty amazing. But people loved it because they got to hear her voice, they got to feel connected. They always felt like they
Mhm.
were able to ask her a question. And that's
Mhm.
literally separated her coaching program from other coaching programs where they were like, oh, you got to get on Facebook group or
Mhm.
WhatsApp. And then there's nothing wrong with these other things, right? Because it's still a point
Right.
of connection. But she found her groove. She found what worked for her, like with you. And it's like those voice notes. So don't discount all the different ways where you can make a connection, which is the ultimate goal when it comes to humanizing your brand. Let's talk about overcoming some challenges. I know sometimes people maybe shy away from really pushing their brand to become more human, really being more transparent and authentic when it comes to sharing their mistakes and the
Mhm.
bloopers and all those different things. Like how do you feel about that? Just do you think that there's definitely a part of it that should be in your mix? Like how do you feel about that?
So I just recently did the one room challenge, and this is interior design, not really a competition. It's almost a competition within yourself, just to choose a space. And for 8 weeks, you're going to document you redoing your living room or your bedroom or whatever. And I did my kitchen. And when I showed my niece this, that I'm like, oh, I'm struggling. I'm trying to figure out what I should do for this one room challenge. And here's what I did last time. And she was looking at this and just, this doesn't feel very you. Like
Ooh.
it's you, but there's something missing here. And when she said that, she showed me on TikTok. I'm not a big TikTok person, but she is obsessed. And she showed me
The
a
young
couple
people.
of different people that she follows, and they had really funny videos where they were like bringing in their personality, being funny, having some humor, throwing some memes in. And she was like, you are like these people, but on Messenger, like through chat, or text. I'm always sending them funny GIFs or making jokes. And she's like, why don't you incorporate this in like your reels or your stories or your videos or some of your content and have I you've seen my stuff. I'm
Yeah.
still pretty out there with like my photos and my messaging and things like that, but there was this level of transparency of show the funnier side of you, show some memes, make some jokes, even the bloopers. So when I approached this last challenge, we're showing the good, the bad, and the ugly. So 8 weeks of not just, I've followed other interior designers. I've met a lot through the one room challenge, but we're always trying to show the perfect side, right? Even if it is, we're still just painting and in our sweats and stuff like that. We still have to like, okay, is that the right take? Let me redo it. The lighting is still off. And it's, wait, this is behind the scenes. Let's just be a little bit more raw. So this time I was raw. I sometimes didn't use the filter because I love the makeup filter. I wish there was a makeup filter on Zoom, but I appreciated my niece for bringing this to my attention that this is you, but it's not all you. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I'm going to show some bloopers. I'm going to have some jokes. We're going to throw in some memes. We're going to just be a little bit more lighthearted with this. And people loved it. Like, people really connected with seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly instead of just the perfect and the more perfect.
Because
So,
people can't, honestly, when you're really thinking about connecting with a brand, it's hard to connect with perfection. Nobody's perfect. And so
right.
that's something that even I have to like consciously tell myself so that I'm not so trying to be put together. And
Right.
I feel like there's sometimes people might feel like, whoa, if especially if it's like maybe another female entrepreneur and they're interested in working with you or whoever, they might feel like you're too perfect for them to work with. Like they might think, oh, they're great for me to follow. Yes, I can get some great information with them, but I don't know if they're my person because I might not be good enough to even be on their level.
Right.
So you don't want to like almost like box people out because you're
Mhm.
only showing the edited, perfect
Yes.
side of your brand. And not to say, like you said, I think it's a good balance. But I would say with
Mhm.
me, I have a good lesson on this, kind of like with you. They're like, okay, thank you, niece, for
Mhm.
calling this out.
Mhm.
I went on a vacation. I was out of the country and I was all excited. I was like, ooh, I'm looking my best and I want to get some content. So my whole goal is, yes, I'm gonna have fun, but I want to get content. So I decided I want to do the nice, like step into the pool, like all how all the Instagram girls do it. I want to be like the Instagram girls. And lo and
Yeah.
behold, on camera, I'm like walking, trying to look whatever, and I fall down every step getting into the pool. Like I slipped. I mean, it's even like the guy that's sitting on the side of the pool, like he tried really hard not to laugh, but he's cracking up because I can't believe this just happened. Like everything is caught. So I decided to literally post that as my reel for showing that I was going out of town, right? This
Yeah.
is my trip this summer. And I literally put it out there. It's one of those things where you have to share your mistakes, you have to share your bloopers. And I didn't know how that was going to turn out, but it was the same thing with you. It was like one of my highest reels, so much engagement, so many comments. I actually got people to follow me after that. Like people were just like,
Mhm.
and the comments, I was expecting sometimes social media could be a very scary, dark place. And, people, but the comments were really supportive. Everybody was like, thank you for sharing this. This is hilarious. Like, I got so much engagement. So sometimes showing those behind the scenes, the bloopers, you're really going to make connections with your people. Like you said, you might not be everybody's cup of
Mhm.
tea, but you're going to
Yeah.
connections with your people that see you and then they start to build that trust and really think about like just over time our especially I don't know when you were born. I think you said you were 37, so we're around the same age, but we grew up in
Mhm.
that time with America's Funniest Home Videos. People are used to laughing at people making big mistakes, and even down to our day, like now we have TikTok. There's so many like shows and social media and all these different things that have been geared towards us appreciating and laughing with people as they're going through their mistakes, not necessarily laughing at them, but literally laughing with them. And that's, I
Mhm.
think, I'm not trying to say, and I don't think you're trying to say either, that in order to humanize your brand, you have to be funny. Everybody's not going to be funny. Everybody's not going to, but you have to find your thing and how you should definitely show up. So
You're right. Like, America's Funniest Home Videos was the original TikTok. Okay, like, you guys think TikTok's amazing? Check out America's Funniest
that,
Home Videos.
some people might not even know. So thank you for saying that.
I hope America's Funniest Home Videos has their own TikTok and is doing like shorts and like sharing stuff, and like they have a ton of content already that they could just upload.
Yes.
But I like that you said it's not just showing the ugly, because it is a balance of good, bad, and ugly. Like, ugly's like you fell and it was just horrible, and it's not that needs to be your whole feed, but throwing in some of those moments. And another thing that happened with me is a client project didn't go the perfect way that I had planned, and I was honest about it. I talked about it in stories and I learned from it, and I think people appreciated that I shared it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm a little bummed because my client liked what I did, but wasn't in love with it. And we're going in this direction. And now I have to switch gears to that direction. Here's what I had done. What do you guys think? And not just to get feedback of help me feel better, but just I'm trying to learn from this. And what am I not seeing here? And bringing in my audience to see this real moment of like, hey, help me out. What do you guys think? Because my audience are my peers. So I
Yeah.
don't just try to get them as clients. They have known me for years. I've been in the industry for years. So a lot of them are like, oh, wow, they see me as like a friend, a peer. Yeah, let's give you some advice. Or, oh, why don't you try this or that? So having a supportive community as your followers is sometimes more important than just, okay, are these all just leads? I just want work. I just want work. And you
Yes.
have to try to also relate to your followers. What do you guys have in common? What could you talk about and discuss and create that human connection that way too?
Exactly. I love that. And there's so many ways that you can create like a human connection, but I love what you just said there because it's definitely needed, right? Definitely needed. And it made me think about like how you mentioned storytelling a few times, and storytelling is a huge part of humanizing your brand. Like how you're telling that particular story, how you're making those connections. Have you ever maybe worked with a client or helped them through maybe like telling their own story? Do you have a formula that you might have used? I know with me sometimes when we're having our brand sessions, whatever, it's really hard for people to hone in on what that story is, right? And how it can become something else. And so I wonder, have you ever had that moment where you work with a client and y'all honed in on a story and it grew into anything else? Is that anything that comes to mind?
I think any business can start by telling their story, their origin story, or things that they value, what they're passionate about when it comes to their work, and just talking about it in a conversational tone. So, again, lose the we and us, and just if you're a small team, own it. If you're a one person woman, own it so that people can relate to that. But a lot of the time, my clients don't think that their story is of value or is interesting at all, and I'm like, "Let me be the judge of that." Like,
Yes.
'cause,
All right.
usually about 99% of the time, it's not true. Like, you have a unique story. You don't think it's anything of interest because there's so many other stories that are exaggerated or seem cooler or something like that. But one particular client through my VIP intensive, and that's like a branded business clarity session that we do for designer to designer, right? So I help them through, okay, let's understand from a marketing perspective this foundation of your business and brand. So we can hone in on what makes you special, what your story is, what kind of angle we can use for this. And she opened up about a horrible divorce. And she was just like, I just feel so comfortable with you. I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't overshare. And I'm like, no, keep going. Please tell me. Like, I had this horrible divorce. I have two teenage daughters that went through it. We had to relocate, all in the midst of me having this life threatening surgery. And so it was just like bad on bad. And a lot of people think the bad is no one's going to want to hear about this. This is terrible. And it's what about all those Hallmark movies? They have this, or any movie, they
Right.
have like the climax is all the horrible things that the hero is struggling towards. And she told me about getting a butterfly tattoo after her divorce was final, her surgery went well, they were settled in their home, and it was this important moment for her. And we're like, this is it. This should be your logo. Let's use this story to connect with your tribe out there because you're not the only one who had a life-threatening moment. You're not the only person who's ever gone through a divorce. You're not the only person who's a single mom. And so there's all of these things that make this a juicy Hallmark story, in
Right.
all honesty.
Love it.
But why don't we inject this into your brand? And again, this is the power of storytelling. And so we, on her website, talked about all of these things so she could connect with other women who are maybe facing some, not necessarily life threatening chapter, but a new chapter, right? They want a new beginning. And so instead of having a house let's create a home, right? So that can be the safe haven. And so she had her beautiful butterfly logo that I created for her. All of the branding and storytelling revolved around her kind of creating this amazing chapter in her life and trying to relate to women who are maybe going through something similar. It doesn't have to be the same, but just, hey, if you're struggling, if you're single, if you newly relocated to some place and you're trying to just have one little room, one space to call yours, right? To just feel at home. Let's connect. And she's, oh my God, this brought in so many more people. She was like, I was afraid by telling my story. One, no one will want to hear it. Two, people would pass, just like, this girl's crazy. I don't want to work with her. And three, I'm going to be niching down too much and drawing away all these other people. And it's no, niching down brings you more people, right? Yes, you're saying maybe no to some people, but you're saying yes to the people who truly are resonating with your story. And again, like I said earlier, not everyone is colorful and bold and out there like I am, but that doesn't mean that they have to be, right? They just are like, wow, I think you're so brave putting yourself out there. I love all of your content and I'm trusting what you're saying. I feel like I know you already before we even hopped on a discovery call. So that's the beauty of it, that you can be in a situation like I'm doing and just get people to trust you because they like what you're saying, but they maybe don't relate. Or my client's position where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm a single woman and I need help creating a space. And I was just so touched by your story. I had a nasty divorce, and that relates, and they're working together and they're just vibing off each other. So there's two different outcomes, right? And it's all good. And it's all in storytelling, niching down, and honing in on your target audience.
Oh my gosh. Oh, first of all, I was going to ask for some tips, and you're just like, I know that everybody can't see, but I was literally like grinning from ear to ear because just first of all, I love storytelling. I love storytelling, but what you were able to do with her and really pull that story out, and it's even if it's like a painful one, but you have to think about other brands that you love and that you like and that you trust. Some of them are sharing like these painful moments, and you're relating. That's why you like them. You so really break down, even look at brands that you admire and really take a step back and realize, why do I even admire them? What was that first thing that kind of touched my heart and made me like, wow, I need to like really, as you said, she was the hero of her story. And that's
Mhm.
to me is like that key to humanizing your brand. You need to find the hero of the brand
Mhm.
story. It could be you, it could be your client, but you need to find that hero and you have to talk about it. You have to talk about it. And niching down, I think that niching down and humanizing your brand just goes hand in hand. I know that this is a big debate. People talk to everybody. You can't talk to everybody. You just can't.
Mhm.
I think that
Mhm.
there is those big companies, but we're most of us are like you said, it's just company of one, right? So when
Yeah.
you're a company of one, you honestly can't even support millions of people, right? So why would you talk to
Mhm.
millions of people? And so when you really think about it, I will say that when you're thinking about the people that you're going to connect with the most, when I was talking about, okay, like going to a party earlier, you really, when
Mhm.
you go to a party, your goal is to maybe make a couple new friends, or if you're networking, but you're not going to do that by having conversations with every single last person at the party. It will be nearly impossible. And you won't be memorable. If you're like, okay, I need to talk to everybody at the party, there's 50 people here, I have 1 hour. The only thing you're really going to get out is, hi, my name is boom. And then you got to keep it moving. But if you want to be memorable to maybe 2 people or 3 people, then what do you end up doing at that party? You end up stopping. You end up like starting this conversation. Oh, y'all are sharing stories. Oh, look at the picture of my cute kid. It just goes on. And then you're memorable. Y'all have made
Yeah.
connections. You're relatable. They remember you. You're the person the next day, oh, yeah, I got to remember I need to connect with that girl on Instagram. Or, oh, yeah, we exchanged phone numbers, but let me make sure I text her, because you're memorable. But if you're trying to talk to all the 50 people at the party, nobody's going to remember you at all. They're just going to remember this blip if they remember that. And you don't want to
Mhm.
become that brand. So you have to niche down so you can talk to your people. Like you said, your client found her people that you have commonalities
Mhm.
with. So awesome. Oh my God. Oh my
Yes.
God. I think
Yes.
Oh my goodness, guys, I want to say, like, right now, first of all, and I know our listeners, when I say that we had a lot of communication back and forth, Amanda, she's awesome. Y'all, she's awesome. Her energy is high. It's there. I love the fact that you refer to yourself as like a teenager in a 37-year-old body. I want some of that energy, y'all. Seriously, her energy is so high. Definitely check out her website. Her smile is just great. So we were so excited about getting on here because we were just like, oh my goodness, we both have this high energy. We'll just do awesome together. And we're like, straight up, y'all doing like a little dance party that you can't see.
Yeah, we're dancing, we're snapping.
Yeah. And we're just like, I'm just having such a good time. But I know we need to like just wrap this up a little bit. I know we talked about a little bit about challenges, and I just maybe just talk about one challenge that I think that people have when it comes to humanizing their brand and really being in front of the camera. And that is the challenge of being in front of the camera. Okay. And I think you clicked in a couple tips earlier, but what would you say to the business owner that's, yeah, I know I need to be in front of the camera, but I hate it. And I know we talked about flipping the camera around, but you mentioned something about filters. So how would you speak to that? Or what do you do personally that might can help some of us who might be a little bit afraid to get in front of the camera?
It's hard to put myself together like this with the hair, the makeup, the lashes, all the things. I don't want to be doing that every day. So I just use filters on Instagram. It's a very natural light filter. It just, I don't know, blurs your face a little bit and it gives you a little color in your cheeks and does the lashes. So to me, it's okay. I can either spend an hour every day and cake on the makeup, spray my hair, put on the heels, put on the blazer, put on all the things, or I could just roll out of bed, brush my teeth, and snap on a filter. And I have told my clients this. That was their homework, is to just get in the camera.
Okay.
Try out some different beauty filters, and they don't have to be those heavy ones. You've seen those that are
Of
like the
course, I use
Snapchat
them.
ones with the crazy, like, feathered eyelashes, and it's just, I don't know, it just looks like way too extra. So I'm
Yeah.
just saying, just that light filter that makes you just look a little fresh, but it's nothing heavy. But you can actually save the filters, which I only have one. I have one that's saved, and that forces me to get on camera because I know, like, I can have my hair in a messy bun, I could be wearing sweats, but I want to challenge myself to just say even good morning. Like I said before, just having a cup of coffee, or I'm painting today and there's the hands-free mode. So a lot of people don't know that they don't have to keep bugging their husbands or their significant others. So like, hey, I need you to hold the phone. Like,
Yeah.
on the left side of the Instagram options, there's a little hands-free if you scroll down. So I've been using that a lot, which my fiance is very thankful for because I'd be like, "Help me, can you hold this?
Oh
It's
my
just
goodness.
5 seconds, I promise. I just 5 or 10 seconds." But now it's okay. I have the filter, so I can't complain about looks. Don't worry. I have the hands free, so I don't have to bug anybody or pretend I need to put it on a tripod or have somebody hold the camera. I just can set it and leave it, have it record. So there's little things like that can just help to, like, okay, I don't have to make a big production and do the whole hair and makeup. I can just put on a filter. Okay, I don't have to rope somebody in to be the camera guy. I can do the hands free setting. So I think with those, I'm not sure what businesses are listening right there, but especially for interior designers, like, that is key because we want to see what's going on, right? What's behind
Yeah.
the scenes? What are you
A lot
doing?
of
What are you working on? And it doesn't have to be a whole production. You don't have to get ready for 2 or 3 hours beforehand. Just throw on a filter, do the hands-free mode, do 5 to 10 seconds here, and then maybe 5 to 10 seconds there, and call it a day. Like, just
I
trying to get one thing out there instead
yes.
of 10 or 20 or whatever. Just do one little thing every day. And if you do that for a year, that's 365 things you did.
That
So,
is amazing. Oh my goodness, like quick math, do it. Talk about showing up consistently, guys. And that's a really big thing with humanizing your brand. No one's going to trust you if you are in and out. You're here one moment, you're not there. the consistency, because it's like a friend. You have a friend that calls you twice a year. Is it really a friend? They're not. Like, you're at least expecting to hear from them weekly, close friends daily. So like that consistency. But I love everything you just said about how to show up. Those tips were amazing. I'm gonna have to like literally tell myself these things, because I am that person that's okay, this is a production, right? But when it becomes a production, you do less of it, because no one really has the time for the full face makeup, the lashes. Let me make sure my hair is laid to the side. Like, and to me, sometimes that whole production does discourage people. If they feel like I got to do all this, I really don't want to wake up and do all this every day. Unless you're like a beauty brand and that's a part of your brand, then hey, record yourself getting ready, because people want to see that. So I'm gonna have to take you up on that challenge. Hey, I want to wake up, I brush my teeth, and I'm just going to throw on a filter and put myself out there more, because I would rather have 365 videos at the end of the year than 20, right? Because I was waiting to get ready. Or what if you're not even feeling like it? And it's really hard to say that you're being authentic when you have a full beat face, right? Like
after we finish doing this podcast, because I'm all dressed up, I'm going to record a couple promo videos, save them in drafts, and then trickle them out in the next couple weeks.
Very smart.
But I know tomorrow I'm going to be all washed. My hair will be washed, face will be washed, and I'll just throw on a filter and do something quick. So you can take advantage of those moments and not just disregard, okay, I'm not doing the hair and makeup ever. No, there's a balance, right? Like, you should still, it's almost when you go and interview with a company, right? You want to make a great first impression. So when your clients are seeing you for the first time, whether it's a reel or a video or a story, you want to have that great first impression as well. And it not just be, okay, this is me in my pajamas, but I have a filter on. Remember that probably professional should be a little bit higher than personal. But again, like, you don't want it to be personal down here and professional way up here, because then, like we said, we don't really have that humanization to your brand. We don't really trust that. And especially with all the AI stuff coming out, that's going to be really key to seem genuine and authentic, so that you seem like, wow, I want to work with her. Not that company, not that logo, Amandork. Or Nicole is a person and she rocks, and I love her vibe and her energy. I don't relate so much to her story, but I'm just so like interested in her story and whatever that is. Just like with my other client or even my story, not everyone has traveled all over the world, but they find it very engaging and interesting. And so they're reading my blogs about when I traveled here and I was working in India or Brazil or Canada, and I 2-3 weeks at a time. So you just never know. Like, to me, sometimes I feel like, wow, that is cool. But since I did it, sometimes I think it's boring. Does you guys really want to hear this? So remember that you might be, I don't know, blocking that, right? That perfectionism and that self-doubt get in the way of our productivity as online service providers. We want to hear your story. It is interesting. Tell it to the world, because that will bring in more people and engagement.
Yes, you're right. Absolutely. And I think a lot of what you're saying, even when you were giving the tips about being in front of the camera and just like you said, just try it, just throw on a filter. I have to tell myself, and I started to tell my students this now, like, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? It is.
There it is. That's the bumper sticker.
It's going to feel uncomfortable for a little bit. You might not have the full face or whatever, but just try it so that you can show up. However, that caveat, I am so happy that you said, like, your first few videos do not need to be where you're so comfortable, like you don't look like you're put together, because people, you got to think about first impressions 1,000%. I'm so happy you said that, because I have seen brands where they're just coming on the scene and they're putting out videos, and it's like the video quality might be okay, but it's like they don't look okay. Like, I wouldn't give you my last $2 if you begged me for it, because you don't look like a business. So you still, like you said, that balance is key. Still want to show up human, but you still want to be a professional. and mix in those things that are going to show that more human side of your brand or be able to tell your story. But y'all, it's going to feel uncomfortable. If you're not comfortable being in front of the camera, or if you're comfortable being in front of the camera, maybe you're like fighting perfectionism. You got to be a little uncomfortable, guys. I'll make sure I develop that bumper sticker and I'm going to.
Yes, please send it to me. Because, yeah, humanizing your brand leads to stronger emotional connections with your customers. That's more leads. And this increases customer loyalty, right? And we talked about that earlier. The word of mouth and referrals is very key. Quality versus quantity. Chick-fil-A is onto something.
That's the sound bite right there, guys. If you didn't take it, just go ahead and take that. She just summarized everything. Oh my goodness. Amandork, I just have to say, and wait, we didn't even tell people why that's your name, because that's, to me, that's a big part of humanizing your brand. Amandork, real quick before we wrap up, how did you even develop that nickname for yourself? I love it.
I just was writing something on my lunch and I just wrote Amandork. I didn't finish it Amanda, and that kind of circulated with all of the people I was working with and when I back in my cubicle days. And I don't know, it was just this quick little thing and people always called me Dork, so I just felt like it was part of like my new name and it just stuck within my peers and networking events and things like that. So they're just like, wow, that's pretty cool.
It's cool.
You call yourself that. I do think of myself as a huge dork.
I love it. And you're embracing it and it's a part of your brand. And I love it and so we're going to get to, so you can tell everybody to drop your links and everything. But when you join her email list, guys, you'll get these amazing emails from her. And you literally sign your emails and Dork. I love that. I love that. So it's just,
It is my email signature.
yes, not just on your website, but it's literally that's a part of your brand. And I feel like for you, it might even be a door. Like somebody, as you're talking to a leader, whatever, they might ask you about that. People ask me about my company name sometime, Elocin Marketing. How did you come up with Elocin? And I'm like, Elocin is Nicole spelled backwards.
Oh my God, genius.
Thank you.
Genius.
Thank you. But and then it starts a whole conversation. I was struggling with what is my company name, and I wanted to like the Nicole company. I have all these stories, right? But when I tell people it's Nicole spelled backwards, they get that look. So y'all couldn't see her face. She was like, "What?" They don't figure it out. These are all a part of your brand stories. Get it out there. Oh my goodness. I have had so much fun on this podcast. I don't know about you, y'all. We've had so many smiles. We've been over here doing like our private dances because we've been vibing off each other. Like literally, I feel like you're in my brain. You're in my brain. Like you're literally saying things, and I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly how I would say it. That's exactly what I would do. And so I love having this podcast because we're in different fields, but we're both brand strategists, 100%. We both believe in storytelling and humanizing our brand, but there's no competition. Like it never is. That's why I love working with women because we really know how to support each other. And so this has been amazing. This has been amazing. And I don't know, do we want to share the blooper that happened for this podcast? So we want to tell people what happened.
We could. Sure.
Okay, so guys, all right. I would like to let you know that this is our second time recording this podcast. We got together, we recorded it, and when I say we were vibing, the vibe was vibing. It was like, in my personal opinion, one of the best podcasts I've ever recorded. And of course, I was so excited because when I say this woman is amazing, I want to do more stuff with her. Oh my goodness, when are we going to set up a live, all this stuff? And after the podcast was over, I went down to stop the recording. And that's when I noticed it was never started. I don't know if you're listening, if you felt the pain that I felt when you have something that's amazing and you think it's recorded. I was so excited. I'm like, I can't wait to use this clip, that clip, this clip. And it wasn't recorded. So I share this to let you know that as a brand, you're going to make big mistakes. You're going to make little mistakes. You're going to make big mistakes. But it's important that you share with other people to, one, just let them know, hey, it's going to be okay. You can come out on the other side. We were able to get back together, and thank you to you. Like, seriously, thank you so much for like agreeing to do this for a second time. But I thought that this was like the perfect topic to share.
Yes. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And And to me, it was just like, you know what? Shit happens. Bleep me out if I shouldn't say that, but it's like you said, it's gonna happen. You're gonna make mistakes, and it's just what can you do? Just I needed to console you. I needed to be
Yeah.
there for you. I needed to give you a
Yeah.
virtual hug. And you know what? We rocked it. We're gonna rock it even harder the second time.
Yes, and that's exactly what you said. So I had to share that because I just thought that that was like a important part of our story, right? Of even us being on here together. It will be one of those things that is memorable. You'll remember, oh, the girl that I recorded 2 podcasts with, right? Like I'm gonna always remember her brand. But anyway, we're gonna just wrap up. Please tell everybody how can they follow you? How can they work with you? What's coming up next? Tell everybody just how can they get in touch with you because I want everybody to follow Amanda.
Thank you. I made it easy and across all platforms. It's at Foster Decor Consulting. So whether it's I am on TikTok, I don't get it, but I am on there. Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, all at Foster Decor Consulting. FOSTERDECORCONSULTING, which is also my website. So Foster Decor Consulting. I made it easy because I do these brand strategy sessions with my clients, and they're like, oh, I'm this name here and I'm that website there. And it's like all of their stuff that we open at the same time is like very confusing, and you
Yeah.
don't want your clients to not be able to find you. They should be able to find you very easily. So you can even put Amanda Foster and I'll come up in Google search results for Foster Decor Consulting. So thank you so much for having me. I've had
Yes.
so much fun. Second time
Yes.
around, I think we killed it.
I think so. I think so. Yes, definitely. So please follow Amanda on all of her channels. And definitely don't forget to follow me at Elocin Marketing. I made it easy for you as well. So that's ELOCIN, Elocin Marketing on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Pinterest. So like definitely follow me, and my website is ellicinmarketing.com. So yes, this is how you're working with real brand people because they're like, I have one name across everything. Go ahead and find me. Yes. All right. So this has been a joy. It's been a pleasure. And I hope that everyone really enjoyed this podcast, and definitely get on our websites, read our blogs so you can know what's coming up next. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, and drop a comment. Stay tuned for our next episode. It's one you don't want to miss.